when you are participating in seeing and interpreting all these activities, you still know that 10 times 10 gives you 100. How is all this possible? How were you able to multitask so easily? Well, all the credit goes to that little master sitting right there at the top in your body. Yes, it's the brain that controls everything. Right from the soothing vision of a beautiful sunset to the aroma of your favorite food, from the desire to pluck a blossomed flower to the flight reaction when a dog runs behind you. From correctly answering your teacher's questions to giving excuses at home for fracturing your sibling's hand. All these activities are governed by the master, that is your brain. Not only these voluntary activities, but also the involuntary activities like breathing, digestion, and so on are regulated in us, all thanks to the brain. But do you think the brain is capable of doing all these activities alone, without any support or help? Although it is capable, it doesn't really happen. This is because the brain is helped by a few more important players in the team. First comes the important spinal cord, and then the nerves that connect the whole body to the brain and spinal cord. In fact, the nerves extending throughout the body connect the brain to the exterior world as well by bringing in and transmitting signals. Together, these three work in harmony and a synchronized manner to get efficient activities performed with a blink of an eye. So now let's learn about the nervous system along with its way of working in general. Then we move on to the brain, its structure, how it functions, and how it coordinates with the other components. And we will also learn about how all the components, like the spinal cord and nerves, work together. Followed by this, let us also get to know about the chemical messengers called hormones that bring about various changes and coordination in our body. Later on, let's also have a look at how this process of control and coordination occurs in plants as well. It'll be interesting if you ask me, what is the most favorite thing that I love to do? I would probably say sleep. Although it may sound weird to you, it's the truth. Not only because my body is well rested, but also because sleeping blesses me with wonderful dreams. But who gifts us these dreams? Yes, it's our brain. All the things that we see, hear, or think is unknowingly recorded in our subconscious mind. It's not only this, even the fact that brain regulates everything in our body makes it special and important. And how does the brain manage all the activities that it performs? Well, it has an entire team to help it function smoothly, and this forms the nervous system in us. The major members of the nervous system apart from the brain include the spinal cord and the nerves running throughout the body. So how exactly do you think this nervous system works in us? Well, firstly, we have the 5 sensory organs that help in collecting the various stimuli from the exterior world. So just imagine touching a very hot surface. This will be sensed by the cells of our skin. But now this danger signal is to be sent to the central nervous system, which we will refer to as the CNS. This is done with the help of neurons, which run from the skin to the CNS. Now the signal is received by the dendrites of a neuron. This is in the form of a chemical signal that will further set off the cascade of electrical impulses and more chemical signals. The electrical impulse is generated when the dendrite receives the signal, and then it passes through the cell body and travels down the axon. At the end, where we have the axon tips, next dendrite is connected, which is all set to receive the impulse. But wait a second, let's zoom in a bit. Are we seeing a gap between these two neurons? Yes, there is always a functional gap between the axon terminal of one neuron and the dendrite of the other. This gap is called a synapse. The synapse is basically responsible to transmit the electrical impulse across to the dendrite by converting it into a chemical signal. Precisely taking a look at the process, we find that the axon terminals have special vesicles called the presynaptic vesicles that have a chemical in them. This chemical, called the acetylcholine, is a neurotransmitter. When the electrical impulses reaches the vesicles, they release this acetylcholine, which crosses the gap and reaches the dendrite, which is present ahead. Now the dendrite also has a receptor called postsynaptic receptor, which receives the chemical signal and is all set to take it further, but in the form of electrical impulse. This is how signals are transmitted at a very high speed. Now, depending upon the direction in which the neurons carry these signals, we classify them into two major types as afferent and efferent neurons. Afferent neurons are the ones that carry impulses from these sensory organs to the central nervous system, while the efferent ones are exactly opposite. They carry the messages from the CNS to the effector organs like the muscles. This is because only the muscles will be able to carry out movements and not the sensory organs. Apart from naming them as afferent and efferent nerves, we can also call them as sensory and motor neurons. Sensory, as the name says, are the neurons that carry information from the sense organs to the CNS, while the motor neurons have to be those running from the CNS to the muscles or effector organs. Well, this was about how the nervous system in us functions. Now let's get to know about the important and interesting concept of the reflex action in the upcoming video.